So Nestle, who has been pumping millions of gallons out of California's aquifer, out of Florida's aquifer, out of Michigan's aquifer, and basically paying nothing to do so, well, guess what? It just got the okay to steal more money from the state of Michigan, while the citizens of Flint still don't have clean water. Does this make any sense to you? Here we go. Michigan okays Nestle's permit for increased water withdrawal for bottled water plant. Oh, this makes you angry. The Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, who are the same brainiacs, by the way, that didn't put anti-corrosive controls in Flint's water and essentially caused the water in Flint to become poisonous and poisoned basically 100,000 people. And 4 years later, April 25th is the 4-year anniversary of the water change. They still haven't had any penalties for that. So, Michigan Department of Environmental Quality approved a controversial permit Monday for Nestle Water North America to increase the amount of water it withdraws from the state's groundwater table from 250 gallons a minute to 400 gallons a minute. 400 gallons a minute, despite vehement opposition to the permit from residents of Osceola County, where the Nestle well is located, and water activists across the state. The DEQ said the permit met the requirements of the Michigan Safe Drinking Water Act. Yeah, I doubt that. Quote, the scope and detail of the department's review of the Nestle permit application represents the most extensive analysis of any water withdrawal in Michigan history, said C. Heidi Grether, director of the state's DEQ, in a statement. We are hopeful that whether residents agree with the Nestle permitting decision or not, they will acknowledge and respect the work that MDEQ staff did to thoroughly and conscientiously apply the law in reviewing the permit. Arlene Anderson Vincent, Natural Resources Manager at the Ice Mountain Natural Spring Water Plant in Stanwood, said they will be reviewing the terms of the permit. Quote, we will need time to carefully review the specifics, but will comply with all permit requirements, she said in a statement. We appreciate the MDEQ's careful review and consideration of our application in what it is called its most thorough review ever, and we look forward to providing them with the monitoring plans as required. James Clift, the policy director for the Michigan Environmental Council, said the permit is a mixed bag with unprecedented additional monitoring and oversight requirements for Nestle. Quote, but we wanted to see some improvement projects brought to the table by Nestle, he said. I don't see that in the permit, and I'm disappointed. State Senator Rebecca Warren, a Democrat from Ann Arbor who serves on Senate Natural Resources Committee, said she was deeply disappointed by DEQ's approval of the permit. Quote, Michiganders know that no private company should be able to generate profits by undermining our state's precious natural resources, which is why an unprecedented number of people spoke up to oppose this permit, she said. Out of 81,862 comments filed by the people of our state, only 75 of them were in favor of the permit. Did you hear that, folks? Out of over 81,000 comments, out of over 81,000 comments, 75 were in favor of Nestle getting this permit to extract 400 gallons a minute. How is this a democracy? How is this a democracy? You have, I'm not good at math, but 75 out of 81,000, that's pretty much 99%, 99.9% of people were against Nestle getting this permit. And they gave it to them anyway. So you sort of have to wonder, well, why is Nestle basically getting carte blanche to do whatever the hell they want? Well, Governor Snyder's former chief of staff was married to the spokesperson for Nestle in the state of Michigan. Did that have anything to do with why Nestle has had carte blanche to do whatever the hell it wants in Michigan for years? Dennis Munchmore was the chief of staff for Rick Snyder, the governor who has not been held accountable for poisoning the city. And his wife is spokesperson for Nestle in the state of Michigan. And a source I spoke with today say Munchmore and Governor Snyder still like that. So you tell me, why is Nestle a private company who only has to pay $200, that's right, $200 for permits to extract hundreds, I mean, it's millions of gallons out of Michigan's aquifers? Why isn't this clean water being extracted and then given for free to the people of Flint? This isn't a democracy. This is an oligarchy. This is a fascist oligarchy. So, Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, again, who rammed through the decision for Flint to switch from Detroit's water system to the Flint River because they were trying to prop up attempts to privatize the water in Flint and to build a privatized water pipeline. That's why Flint got poisoned. So Nestle, for $200, is being allowed to extract 400 gallons a minute and then sell it at crazy prices to the poisoned citizens of Flint and elsewhere, by the way. What rationale is there for that? Once the monitoring plan is in place and the baseline of data is collected, Nestle can begin withdrawing the increased amount of water from the White Pine Springs well located near Evart. The water withdrawal increase will feed a $36 million expansion of Nestle's Ice Mountain bottled water facility in Stanwood. The state's water withdrawal assessment tool initially rejected the proposal, saying it would cause adverse impacts to nearby streams and fish, but the company appealed and DEQ approved the permit request. Much of the public outrage was generated by the fact that Nestle gets the groundwater for nothing more than a $200 per year DEQ permit, and that won't change under the new permit. Cliff said about 3,000 high-capacity wells have registered with the state. They withdraw at least 100,000 gallons of water a day. Most of them are farmers who are using the water to irrigate their fields. No one pays for the water, only the permit to withdraw the resource. Quote, "We're underfunding our agencies that are designed to protect public health," he said. "This water quality program is woefully underfunded. The program needs more funding, and we think the legislature needs to address that." Michigan Citizens for Water Conservation sued Nestle in 2001 over the potential damage to lakes, rivers, and streams that its bottled water plant's groundwater withdrawals could cause. After years of court battles, the two sides reached a settlement in 2009, reducing Nestle's siphoning to 218 gallons per minute from 400, with additional restrictions on spring and summer withdrawals. The Nestle expansion also was opposed by Osceola Township, which rejected a permit request for the pumping station after the water plan. That rejection was overturned by both county and state appeals courts. So, in what world, nothing in life is free. Obviously, Nestle is paying off somebody, and I'm going to look further in to who and what they're paying. But I do know this: the chief of staff to Governor Snyder, he's no longer the chief of staff. He resigned after it was exposed that he was actually pushing for more water extraction so Nestle could sell more plastic water bottles to the poisoned citizens of places like Flint. And, didn't think it was that big of a deal that his wife is a spokesperson for Nestle. No, that's not a big deal, right? It's literally unbelievable. Literally unbelievable. I talk to residents of Flint on a daily basis. Their health problems continue. Their health care, or lack thereof, from the government continues. Most of them don't have the money to pay for their health bills that came from being poisoned. Most of them don't have the money to pay for water bottles that Nestle is charging them. In any other civilized country on earth, if the government poisoned its people, you know what? The government would be providing water and essentials to those poisoned residents. But not in America. In America, the government allows a private corporation to basically pay nothing to steal water from Michigan's aquifers and then sell that water at, frankly, elevated price in water bottles to poison people. Democracy under attack from Russia. Give me a break. Give me a break. Laura says, we all know it isn't a democracy, it's an oligarchy. Indeed. Indeed. And by the way, do you know who owns quite a little bit of money? Or do you know who owns quite a lot of Nestle? CNN's doing a wonderful little documentary on his family right now. That would be Congressman Joseph Kennedy III, who owns $95,000 in assets of Nestle. With those assets could reach $250,000. $95,000 in assets, and it could go up to a value of $250,000. That would be Joseph Kennedy III, who was the Democratic speaker who responded to Trump's State of the Union. That's how much he owns in Nestle. And that's who the Democratic Party has been pushing as its new golden boy. Joseph Kennedy III owns $95,000 in assets from Nestle, and those assets could peak all the way up to $250,000. Just vile.